My name is Jarvis. Pleased to meet you. Thanks for coming here today. We're going to, as you can see the title of the talk, it's up there, Extraordinary. And I don't know, last time I was in Austin was about 5 years ago. I did a talk about lyrics. Some of you may have seen it, I don't know. Thank you, yeah. It's going to be exactly the same, so you may as well go out. No, joking. That kind of set off a chain of events in a way, and it all culminated in me publishing a book of lyrics. This isn't an advertisement. This book is not available downstairs, okay? So I'm not trying to sell you anything. In that talk that I did before was talking about how I thought lyrics worked, how they worked in music, stuff like that. In this talk, I'm going to read you some of my own work, and I'm hoping in the process of doing that, I can pass on some of my tricks or my beliefs about songwriting. I have to stress that they're my beliefs, so they're not forced to work for everybody, but who knows? They might do. So one of my main contentions in this is that instead of straining your eyes looking for inspiration coming over the horizons and distant place, you'll be much better served by actually looking in the immediate vicinity, the stuff that surrounds you every day on a daily basis, the stuff that you often overlook, because after all, look, it's here. I'm not looking at it. I'm looking in the distance. I'm not looking at the floor. That's why occasionally I may trip up. And this is something that I tried to, when the book came out, I went to my old school to speak about it. That didn't go so well, actually, to be honest. Because I did like a long talk, and then at the end, all I got asked was, have you ever met Simon Cowell? Again, because it's like the way it works on the X Factor is like, you know, somebody takes you under their wing and they get a choreographer to sort your moves out and they sort your clothes out and all this thing, like as if there's some way of making you into it. Well, artistic success wouldn't be the word for X Factor, I suppose, but there's a formula, as if there's a formula, and it's passed on from other people. I don't believe that. So I tried to convince the kids. I really don't know if I managed to do that, but I read them some stuff, and that's what I'm going to try and do a bit today. Try and show you how my writing process evolved. And the first one, we're talking about looking at the mundane, we're talking about looking at the everyday. Is there anything more mundane and everyday than a bus journey? No, Jarvis, there isn't. Right, okay. So I'm going to swap over to this other microphone now to read you the lyrics to a song called Inside Susan. Susan catches the bus into town at 10:30 a.m. and sits on the back seat. She looks at the man in front's head and thinks how his fat, wrinkled neck looks like a large carrot sticking out from the collar of his shirt. She adds up the numbers on a bus ticket to see if they make 21, but they don't. Maybe she shouldn't bother going to school at all then. Her friends will be in the yard with their arms folded on their chests, pushing up their breasts to try and make them look bigger, while the boys will be too busy playing football to notice. The bus is waiting on the high street when it suddenly begins to rain torrentially, and it sounds like someone has emptied about 1 million packets of dried peas onto the roof of the bus. What if it just keeps raining, she thinks to herself, and it was just like being in an aquarium, except it was all shoppers and office workers that were floating past the windows instead of fish. She's still thinking about this as the bus goes past Caroline Lee's house, where there was a party last week. There were some German exchange students over who were very immature. They ended up jumping out of the bedroom window. One of them tried to get her to kiss him on the stairs, so she kicked him. Later, she was sick because she'd drunk too much cider. Caroline was drunk as well. She was pretending that she was married to a tall boy in glasses, and she had to wear a polo neck for 3 days afterwards to cover up the love bite on her neck. By now, the bus is going past the markets. Outside is a man who spends all day forcing felt-tipped pens into people's hands and then trying to make them pay for them. She used to work in a pet shop there, but she got sacked for talking to boys when she was supposed to be working. She wasn't too bothered, though. She hated the smell of the rabbits anyway. Maybe this bus won't stop, she thinks, and I'll stay on it until I'm old enough to go into pubs on my own. And it'll drive me to a town where people with black hair are treated specially, and I can make lots of money from charging fat old men £5 a time to look up my skirt, and they'll be queuing up to take me out to dinner. I suppose you think she's just a silly girl with stupid ideas, but I remember her in those days. They talk about people with a fire within and all that stuff. Well, she had that all right. It's just that nobody dared to jump into her fire and risk being consumed. Instead, they put her in a corner and let her heat up the room, warming their hands and backsides in front of her, and then slagging her off around town. No one ever really got inside Susan, and she always ended up getting off the bus at the terminus and then walking home.
Thank you.